Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. We got me, Devin, Matt from the last episode, and we got a new guest, going to be a recurring star on the show. We got J-Biz in the house.
What's up, guys? My name's Jason. A little bit about me. In high school, I played a little bit of football, not much. Kind of ended it senior year. I went up to the booth and announced the games to my boy Matt.
Yes.
Other than that, I'm a barber, so I do a lot of sports talk in the barber shop. I'm mostly a football guy. I know just about everything about the Pats. It's mainly my focus. Other than that, I know some Celtics. I know some Bruins. I know some Red Sox. So let's get it going.
All right. First topic is going to be about Bruins Game 7. Definitely a disappointment. I can't be too disappointed with the season overall. I know a lot of people are just like, they're looking too down on the situation. They're thinking that the entire season was a failure, but I think that to get to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup, I think it was just decently successful overall. What do you guys think?
I definitely got my hopes up. I think that everything went the Bruins' way. All one seeds were eliminated, like I touched upon last podcast. The Lightning were out. A lot of other major East teams like the Capitals and Penguins were eliminated. That really left the Bruins with a weak conference, and they ended up doing the job, getting through it, and getting to the Cup, facing a team that was fairly worse than them. But turns out the Blues did what they had to do and found it, did their job, and got the win. Hats off to them. But I'm very disappointed.
Honestly, I think Bennington got hot when they needed him to. If there's one game in the whole season to step it up, it's Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, and he did it. He stood on his head. I think puck luck was a huge thing. You saw that one save. It was in between the arms and legs of Bennington. That thing could have just trickled in. It would have been a whole different game. But at the end of the day, there's not much you can do.
I think hockey's just one of those energy sports where you see your goalie making those kind of saves, and it just feeds you as a team. It
absolutely
neutralizes you, and I think honestly, when Bennington were making those saves, you could have said the game was already over by then because the Blues were shut down after that first 10, 15 minutes.
First period, we had all those shots on net, all the control, and yet Bennington was standing there.
They had all the control.
In the net, and it was just demoralizing to the Bruins.
It seems like every other game in the series there was something to complain about, whether it was the refs, Blues playing a little too dirty, or just whatever it may be. But Game 7, honestly, the better team on the ice won. Not overall in talent, I think, but the Blues just played years ahead of the Bruins. They were getting shots off. You can't really blame Tuukka. We had so many opportunities to make the score 4-4.
We did.
Yes, it's kind of tough to see Tuukka let in those goals, but
couple softies.
We had so many opportunities where, you were right there. Their goalie was just on his head. There's really nothing you can do about it at that point. Some guys just have their nights.
So the Bruins had their breakup day today, which is they move out of their locker rooms. They talk to the media one last time, and this is the time where every year the Stanley Cup or any playoff team, when they are eliminated, they'll come out and they'll say their injuries. So I'm just going to list you off the complete Bruins injury list, and it's pretty absurd.
I'm excited to hear this.
Noel Acciari had a broken sternum and a foot injury. Patrice Bergeron had a groin injury, will not need surgery. Jake DeBrusk concussed. Brad Marchand, groin, abdomen, and sprained hand.
I heard he sprained that hand early, and then he was fine. He was getting over it, and in that scrimmage they had with the fans, he re-injured it.
Pasternak re-aggravated his thumb injury that he was out for earlier in the year. Chris Wagner, he had the arm and wrist that in the block shot game versus Carolina. Chara obviously had his multiple fractures in jaw. He had wires and plates. Also had a groin injury. Matt Grzelcyk, concussion. John Moore had a broken humerus, which is a 4 to 6 month recovery. He came back within a little over 2 months.
It's a man's sport.
It's mind-boggling.
Kevin Miller, who didn't play at all during the playoffs, had 2 broken kneecaps.
Oh, dear God.
Oh, my God.
So, there's that's a good 10 players, a good half your team, and it's pretty much all your best players.
These guys really aren't human. To be able to be playing hockey at a professional level, with broken bones.
You don't see that in any other sport.
Any other sport, man.
I'm not making excuses, but I mean,
it's
it
not really an
takes
excuse.
away.
It's just a factor. It's not really an excuse.
It's just one of those what if things. If like maybe one or two, maybe if just let's say Marchand and Pasternak both aren't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
How many is this series a different look or a different outcome?
It's one of the, like, you can complaining about the refs. That's an excuse because it's up in the air whether they got the right call or something like that. But then injuries is just a straight up factor. It's
not arguable this series.
Oh, not at all.
Like you said the other day, that first line was called the perfection line all season. Those guys go down with injuries. Look at it; it gets silent. The team
it's hard.
Loses its energy. It's hard.
And in the Garden, the first line needs to just come up big, and they just didn't. I mean, the crowd. I heard some chants, but the Garden went silent pretty quick. To be honest,
it just hurt a lot because we had all the momentum. Bennington was on his head. If we just could have kept firing, you know what I mean? If Rask gave us, I'm not saying it's Rask's fault, but if he just gave us the couple of saves in the first period, he saved 2 out of 4.
And
that's unacceptable, man.
Looking on the defensive end, it seemed like some of the, like either the 2-on-1s or the 3-on-2s.
Marchand had a bad line change.
Yeah, there was
5 seconds left in the period to stay on the ice, man.
There wasn't a lot of effort. Like Chara was sitting there jerking himself off, poking his stick in between, really not doing much. He's the enforcer of the team. He needs to be up close and personal, knocking some fucking Blues over.
Much to do with a broken jaw, man.
I guess, yeah, that's true. But
besides the point that Chara is not Chara anymore. Everyone has to realize that.
42 years old, man.
I mean, this could be his last, and if it is, you really, really hate to see it. Him go out like that.
I mean, he's a Bruins legend either way.
He's a hockey legend.
His numbers will be up there.
They will, absolutely.
Him, Bergeron will both be up there, no doubt.
Hell, maybe even Marchand.
Mm-hmm. But overall, it's just one of those feelings because you ride them for me all season long. I mean,
yeah.
And then all of us, night in and night out, we're watching games, and to get so close and just disappointing. I mean, can't really complain. We're from Boston. We get a lot of titles, but this one hurts a lot. I won't lie.
It does.
Out of all the Boston sports, I'm probably a bigger Celtics fan than any other Boston sport there is. And for them to go out in what was it, the first round or second round? Second round. I'd prefer that, honestly, than make it all the way to the Stanley Cup and just have your hopes up, wishing for a third parade in basically 1 year.
It would have been their third consecutive title.
Yeah, I mean, we're spoiled, so I can't really complain. But after the Celtics went out, I just felt a little better about it than when the Bruins lost. I just felt so much more disappointed. But
the road team was the better team this series all around.
Oh, yeah. It really was.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that hockey's like that. It's the only sport.
2 wins for home teams this series. 2 wins.
That's unreal.
Bruins went 1-3 at home. Blues went 1-2 at home.
It's nothing like the NBA. Like NBA home court.
I know.
It's
crazy.
All of it.
I think it's because you get the jitters.
Yeah, that's
home
true.
Building. You expect the crowd. You get the jitters. But in the road, you just kind of get in there and got to do your job. No, there's no other
It's a business trip.
Distraction. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That could be it. Who knows?
Overall, upsetting.
Shitty feeling.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the worst feeling is for me is just not being able to look at Bleacher Report, any of the hockey social media apps because I don't want to see it. Can't turn on the TV. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear about it. It's just I'm gonna take a few months off from this because it hurts. It really does.
Yeah. But all right, we're gonna move on to our next topic, the NBA Finals. Toronto won in Game 6. There were a few injuries. What do we think happened in that series?
This was the most weird finals ever because this was so good for the sport, but yet so bad.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
The injuries are going to cost the NBA a lot next year.
Yeah.
The league's going to be
Clay
flipped
and
upside
KD.
down.
You are losing the bona fide the superstar player of the league, the most dominant player of the league. And then Clay goes down a couple nights later, torn ACL. He'll probably be out for
The whole
good
season.
half.
Oh yeah, he'll be out till February,
season,
maybe
so.
even he'll probably wait on it till playoffs just to be safe.
But the good side, you get a new champion. Kawhi and the Raptors come in, and I certainly didn't expect it.
I didn't either.
I
Not
thought
6.
KD's injury wasn't too bad. I thought he'd be back by game 2, maybe 3, and just be the same KD. Warriors would have took care of business, but the Raptors, good for them. Drake, Kawhi get their title over the Warriors. Very good for the league.
What does this mean for Kawhi and his legacy? Like, what does it mean to him as a
If
player?
he leaves, it's just stupid.
I don't see why he would leave. There's no reason
It's
to leave.
stupid.
With the burst that Siakam came this season, he emerged as an all-star.
Yeah.
I feel Van Vliet, he's getting better.
Yeah.
I mean, the team is just getting
They've got
better
some
and
dogs
better.
on that team.
They do. They really do.
I think it's really easy in the middle of the season, maybe even early on in the playoffs, to say Kawhi's gone or KD's gone. If KD had come back and not re-injured his Achilles, I think he had his Achilles injured the whole time, but that's beside the point. Get re-injured, nevertheless. I think that would have built an even stronger bond. That's a family thing, and if they came back to win it all, I think that definitely would have influenced his decision in free agency.
So you're saying if they came back from 3-1,
I think
you'd have a better chance?
Absolutely. I think that, I mean, how can you just pass up winning or being the absolute hands down favorite to win the finals year after year after year? And you can say that they're just loaded and that they don't really mean as much, but at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you look at KD, he could have had 6 championships, and then years down the road you look at it and it's just
I feel
KD
like
has 6 chips.
KD right now, though, he wants the respect. He wants people to be like, damn, KD did it on his own or with one other person. He doesn't want to be the KD that
Then he should have stayed with OKC.
he should have. I absolutely agree.
I do think it's tough to play with Russ.
But there's plenty of other.
There were plenty of other options.
If his point is what Jay is saying, there were plenty other landing spots for him to go rather than Golden State with 3 superstars already on their team, and then they had a 5th.
Think about what OKC could have gotten if they shipped off Russ. If KD said, "Hey, I don't want to play with Russ. Get me a new point guard."
Or
What could they have gotten?
They kept Harden at the time.
If they kept Harden, imagine that team.
It's just one of those big what ifs, but I mean, if it's just very, very weird. If KD goes to New York and he's in a similar situation than he was in OKC, then I think you really question his character at that point. I think at this point you're 31, ride it out with the guys you signed with, stick around, fight for some more championships. The league's gonna get tougher.
Yeah.
The Raptors won. They're a tough team now. The Lakers possibly getting AD. Who knows where all these things. The league is. Ethan Texera said it last podcast. The league is really, really emphasizing on taking down the Warriors.
It is.
So stay.
The East is on the come up, man.
I don't think there's any point in him leaving. Especially he's gonna miss a year. It's just a really odd situation for KD.
Yeah. We'll bring it back to Kawhi. Does this mean that he's solidifying himself as arguably the best player in the league? Or maybe not the most talented, but just like the most clutch.
He gets it done. He's clutch. He hits his free throws when it matters. He's a lockdown defender. I mean.
Yeah, he plays both sides, both ways.
Not a big mouth.
No, he's
absolutely
quiet.
Like there was a video of him celebrating in the locker room after the game, and my jaw was on the floor. I didn't think that he would have done anything.
Right after the game, he was kind of screaming and he had his arms up and he caught himself. He was like, damn, am I actually celebrating? What the fuck am I doing? And he stopped himself.
All these apps, all the social media apps, I get pretty upset and pissed off when they're posting too much about LeBron or Curry or Harden, but they can post all they want about this guy. I respect the hell out of it. I respect him as a player, and if these social media sites want to continue to give him the fame and respect that he deserves, post as much as you want.
He's so humble, and
I love it.
And a lot of people are knocking him for his
little San Antonio stunt.
Yeah, his little injury issues, whether he was injured, whether he
How'd
wasn't.
that work out for KD? You know what I mean?
Honestly,
Who's the smart one?
Like I've heard a few points that their team doctors that the team doctor cleared KD to play, and after the first quarter, boom, Achilles gone, and Kawhi got a second opinion from another doctor, said wait it out. The team doctor cleared him to play. I think he's a champion now.
Yeah.
If he went back out, he could have injured himself again and never had this opportunity.
It's just one of those topics where we're almost hypocrites because last podcast we're talking if the NBA is too soft and our headliner was KD. Should he be out there? We said absolutely. Look how that turns out.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those things. It's just unfortunate.
And, I mean, some of it might come off as soft because we don't know
the extent of the injury.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on inside either their head or their own body. Only the player knows how they feel. So we can sit here and say, oh, Kawhi was being a baby, KD was being a baby. I have a lot of respect for KD going out and playing when even everybody around him knew that he was not okay to go. But it was a brotherhood at that point, and I think it sucks that now he's injured and out for over a year. He's more respected by the Warriors fan base than he ever was when he won his 2 in a row NBA Finals MVP.
Yeah,
exactly. I gained a lot. I used to hate. I mean, I still don't really like KD that much, but I gained a whole new level of respect for him.
Agreed.
So Kawhi, I think what he did was good, and it's just unfortunate for KD. It had to be this way for him, but it worked for Kawhi. Simple. I mean, he sat out a year when I don't know if he had to sit out that long. He played in 9 games.
Yeah, I think it was 9.
It worked. He kept him healthy, kept the Spurs from getting max value back for him. And now he's a champ, so good for the Raptors, good for the Blues.
One last touch on this NBA Finals. What does this mean for Steph? He hasn't won an NBA Finals MVP. He was taking some shots last night that just bricked hard in the last 15, 20 seconds of the game. Is he as good and as clutch as we always thought he was? Or
I think when he took that three-pointer at the very end of the game, when they were only down by 2 or down by 1, what was it?
They were down by 2.
They were down.
No. They were down by 1. They were down by 1.
I don't know why.
It was after the turnover.
I mean,
there were so many more options.
It was an open look, but man, you don't need a three.
He dribbled through 2 defenders and hooked up a shot.
If he had been hot from 3 all night, I get it, but man, he was cold.
He was what,
all night.
3 for 11?
He wasn't having a good night, man. That's just not the shot you look for.
I'm not really a basketball guy. I can't really tell you what I would have done, but I think there are plenty of other options, pick and roll, maybe anything.
Get the ball to Boogie under the hoop, man.
He was lighting up in the last 5 minutes.
He was feeling himself.
The Warriors are a move the ball around the perimeter team and find open looks. That's how Clay gets hot. That's how Steph gets the ball and dribble, boom, gets his own shot. But he was taking shots in 3-man traffic, and it was just horrendous shots. And I think there are times when he makes those. And I think when it comes down to a game like this, I don't think he has it in him to make those kind of shots. But
agreed.
I think it's just Steve Kerr saying he just give the ball to his best player at that point.
That's fair.
You don't have the 2 stars. Give it to Steph.
You don't really have as much trust in Iggy, Draymond to make a.
Shut up, Max Kellerman, for saying he'd rather Iggy take the game-winning shot over Steph Curry.
Might
be right.
Right. Universe, bro. He would take Iggy. Oh.
I don't think I've seen Steph take a wide open 3. Once in my life, I saw Iggy take that last second shot in what was it, game 2?
Shut up, Fred VanVleet, for that defense on Steph.
Oh, absolutely.
Crunch time, locking him down.
I didn't know he was undrafted, man. Good for
Fred?
that kid. Fred VanVleet, undrafted. Last year he was in the minor team, whatever Toronto's fucking.
He was on the Shockers.
Team is, yeah. Led him to a championship, man.
He's a dog.
They were the first. I saw a thing. It was the Raptors are the first team ever to win a title with no lottery picks on their team.
Wow.
No lottery picks, which is
those are some dogs.
Beyond crazy for a league like the NBA where your odds of being a star drafted outside the top 10 are far against you. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but
I mean, the Raptors just heated up at the right time.
yeah.
But all right, that's it for the finals. We're gonna stick to the NBA, but we're gonna delve a little deeper into free agency, what KD's injury means for it as a whole, what the AD trade is gonna do for free agency, and who we think's going where.
Well, it's basically confirmed that Kyrie's going to the Nets. I don't know what that means for the Nets. I don't know what it means for D'Angelo Russell. But I don't see them working together.
I think there's too many personalities on Brooklyn. Like if Kyrie was complaining about the people on Boston, then he's gonna have some issues in Brooklyn, in my opinion. But I don't even know if he's really a leader.
He's not.
I think he's a great co-star.
I think that's what he showed us this year, is that he doesn't have what it takes to lead a team. He crumbles under pressure. He doesn't have what it takes.
He's more Clay in terms of, like, I mean, he can get his open shot like Steph, but he's just more of like a heat up and just go off. But then there's nights where he's just cold, and he's not a facilitator like Steph. He's just
He's me. He wants the ball. He needs the ball. Fourth quarter, he wants the ball in his hands. I mean, granted, you could say he's the best closer in all of basketball, but at the same time, what does that do to your teammates?
But you're not going to close every game out. You know what I mean? You got to know when you're hot and cold.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're having a bad night, look for your teammates.
And he was freezing cold in round 2 of the playoffs.
He checked out.
He said in one of the post-game interviews, they were like, well, you shot 20 times or whatever. He was like, I should have shot 30. You're cold. You went 6 for like 21.
I think everyone in Boston rolled their eyes when he said that.
That's the shit that it's just like, dude.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Like I've never really been a huge Kyrie guy. I'm a huge LeBron guy. Hit me if you want. But when Kyrie was on the Cavs, it was kind of cool to see them two work together. But then seeing him on the Celtics just kind of brought out his true colors, honestly. Midway through the season, he was starting a whole lot of drama.
Look who he's raised by.
I think he got
It's the same way as LeBron.
I guess, yeah, that's true.
Look at when shit doesn't go LeBron's way, what does LeBron do? He bolts.
Ships off his teammates.
He bolts.
Ships off
either
his teammates, or he leaves himself. Exactly.
Jalen was minding his own business. Jason Tatum was minding his own business. They were a little cold midway through the season.
But they're young and they're looking up to a guy like Kyrie and Al Horford. And Al Horford, we all know he does his job.
I love Al Horford.
It's Kyrie. It was Kyrie's team. We literally handed him the keys to one of the most deep teams when it comes in terms with roster, age, talent, stuff like that, and draft picks.
You look at the roster on paper before the season starts, you could say the Celtics were just about neck and neck with the Warriors talent-wise.
I thought that I thought it was going to be Warriors, Celtics in 7 maybe.
Everyone
I was so excited to watch it.
Like, look at the way it just ended. What if the Celtics get it together, we go to the finals, and this happens? KD, Clay go down. I mean, it's a cheap way to win a championship, but
I think it would have been a cakewalk if KD and Clay go down against the Celtics.
This was the most perfect year for the Celtics to go do it. We had the perfect roster. It ended up being the perfect way to the final, to the championship in terms of the Warriors, and they just blew it.
And look at the year before when Kyrie and Gordon Hayward were out, arguably the two best players on our team at the time. Jason Tatum, everybody did their job. The role players,
Tatum had a little bit of a slump.
Tatum had a slump this year, but when they went to Game 7 with the Cavs,
when he dunked on LeBron, I lost my shit, man.
The Celtics just have so much grit, and I think Kyrie, like you said, he's a me guy. He's not really a go out there and do my job like, say, Marcus Smart or Al Horford. Yeah,
he's not a dog.
He likes to believe he is, and that's like we were talking about the NBA being soft last season. Everybody thinks that they're all that, but when
look around Boston sports. I mean, all of our other stars are just conservative, laid back, get the job done guys. Look at Mookie Betts. He's a star. Do you ever hear anything out of him? I mean, granted, it's baseball. It's a little bit less beloved sport in America, but you don't hear anything. There are no Bruins players, obviously.
Tom Brady, the best player of all time for football, and I mean, you don't hear a peep out of his mouth. He's a fucking dad, bro.
Besides his dad jokes on Twitter.
He's a dad, literally. He's got nothing better to do.
And then there's Kyrie, who's making these ignorant remarks saying you should take 10, 20 more shots. No, dude, we lost and you shot less than 30%. So, no.
Have fun in Brooklyn where
you should shoot less.
You think you're going to be all sorts of successful.
Go to Brooklyn.
I can't wait for the media to get a hold of him in Brooklyn.
How about KD's injury? How do you think that affects his free agency moves?
None.
You don't?
I think a team as desperate as the Knicks will pay for him for 4 years, knowing they'll only get 3 out of him just because he's that fucking good.
I think they need to. The Knicks just need to send it.
Is there a Gordon Hayward effect on this guy? Does he have
Achilles? Is that? I mean, look at what happened to Kobe.
He's old, man. 31. He's not getting younger.
And he's going to be 32 by the time he's playing. You're signing him to a max deal to get him for, say he signs a 4-year contract. It's more or less a 3-year contract.
Exactly.
Signing him for 4 to get him for 3. And
I still think all these teams take a risk. It's Kevin Durant.
That is true. I mean, do you think he has a better chance of signing with the Knicks or the Clippers? They both have ways to get 2 max salary spots open.
The Nets also opened up a second max salary cap.
I don't think KD goes to the Nets. I think
he wants the big market. The LeBron market.
The Knicks are just so much bigger than the Nets, and it confuses me why Kyrie wants to go to the Nets so bad.
From there.
He's from that area.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's.
I still think that all these teams will not even hesitate giving their max, the super max, whatever it's called, towards KD, waiting out a year. I mean, like you said, the Knicks are still gonna suck anyways, with or without Kevin.
They will.
And I think I heard a report that Clay's dad said that he's absolutely signing his player option. Or no, he doesn't have a player option. He's just re-signing with the Warriors. And how about the smaller stars like Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler, Kemba Walker?
It's a massive free agency.
I think they're going to be more important in the long run than the bigger stars, to be honest, because you get a few of those guys, maybe a couple of those guys compared to one big superstar. I think your team goes farther than, say, the Knicks just get solely KD.
I agree.
What in terms for the Celtics, though? If Kyrie leaves, would you rather them approach this summer with a mindset of trading for a guy like Mike Conley, maybe having to give up?
Mike Conley's my favorite player in the NBA. I love LeBron.
Giving up a little bit because of his. I mean, they wouldn't have to give up too much, I don't think, because of his contract. He's due like $32 million for a season. For 1 year. But would you rather see that, or would you rather them go into free agency, get a low risk, high reward type of player like Patrick Beverley, maybe even re-sign Terry Rozier despite his comments about wanting to start a new chapter?
Well, if that was if Kyrie re-signed. I don't think the Celtics are really. I mean, the last time that they had big name superstars was when we had the big 3 or 4 with Rondo, Pierce, Allen, and Garnett. But since then, the Celtics' success hasn't been on having superstar players. It's been get us our role players, have them do their job, and go out there and be dogs.
But at the same time, since we haven't had Garnett and Pierce and those guys, we haven't won a ship.
I guess you're right.
So you could say that, but I mean,
I want Isaiah Thomas back.
Man, I don't know. I feel like I would love to see the Celtics sign Kemba Walker. I know it might not happen.
29 years old.
That would be the one like big contract, maybe Tobias Harris too, that I would be okay with the Celtics signing. Because he's not a huge personality.
He's not.
He's been in fucking Charlotte his whole career.
He went to fucking UConn, bro. I mean, he's a hometown dude.
And I don't know. I think the Celtics just, instead of picking the best player, I think they need to just sign the right players that would fit their system. Kyrie didn't fit their system. Kyrie is a go get his own, and let everybody else do
Stevens
their shit.
is the total opposite the way he runs his system.
And I hope that Gordon Hayward can kind of come into his own. He was starting to come into his own later in the season.
He was.
But after that ankle,
yeah, that was brutal.
Foot, that was one of the most horrendous injuries that I've ever seen. But
it's a very unlucky turn of events for the Celtics.
That was game 1, right, of the season?
Yeah.
Last year.
Tough.
Ridiculous.
It's just unlucky. Kyrie doesn't work out, and Gordon Hayward doesn't work out.
It's rough.
You had a press conference with those two, and every Celtics fan was ready for the title. Kyrie was saying it's about to be crazy, whatever he said. I mean, and 2 years later, both of them are just...
It's down the fucking shitter.
One's never going to be the same player, and one is just...
He's gone.
Out. Checked out.
What do you guys think about trading Tatum and Brown for Anthony Davis on a 1-year
I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that.
I'm all set.
No part of it.
The only way that I would be somewhat okay with that is if Kyrie re-signed, which I don't want in the first place, but that's the only way that AD would stay.
There'd be a number amount of things that I would need. I would need Kyrie to come, not only re-sign, but say, okay, like, I'm gonna take back all the stuff I said last year.
He's gotta pull his head out of his ass.
And I'm gonna be a leader. And if shit starts to hit the fan again, I'm gonna respond differently. And I would need Davis to actually give us a shot. You know, I would not want these comments of his agent saying, "Oh, he's out after 1 year."
Mm-hmm. And I mean, looking down the road, it could be a Kawhi situation. They trade, shit goes well, but I think that's too much of a risk.
But I mean, would you rather DeRozan and whatever else they got, or Tatum and Brown? I mean, DeRozan's old. He's 30.
Yeah, that's true.
You're giving away a 22-year-old.
You don't know what you're gonna get with Tatum yet. I still think he has the tools that it takes to become an all-star in this league, and he could dominate for years.
I don't think he's gonna. As much as I love Tatum, I don't think he's gonna be a Celtic down the road. I think he's gonna have a breakout season, like an absolute breakout season one of these years, and he's just gonna get an ego, and I think he's gonna kind of have because he's learning from Kobe Bryant. That's his idol. Take your shots.
Kobe was loyal.
I mean, Kobe was loyal. That is true, but I mean, nowadays Kobe was loyal back when taking shots was leading your team. Taking shots nowadays is let me go get mine and have my own personal brand.
I think from what we've seen from Tatum, I think he's going to be I disagree with you there personally, but I just think it's because what we've seen from him, he's been pretty quiet guy. Keep in mind Kyrie's above him. Maybe it's a little different now. He has a lot more leverage. He's older, but I certainly could see him being with the Celtics for years.
I think he's a good kid. And I think if he gets another winning season with Boston, they go to the Eastern Conference Finals again, hell, maybe even the Finals, he'll fall in love with Boston all over again, and he won't want to leave, not at all.
Hopefully Jalen can grow into his own.
If Jalen can grow up a little bit and stop making some of these smart comments.
I feel like with Jalen, he's trying to be a player that he's not. We all expect him to be that wing guard, pull up for three, all day long, but instead he's kind of that driver, that finisher, and I think we kind of pull back that potential of all of his skill traits, and we kind of just want him see him pull up for three and do all these different things.
He's not really too crazy of a shooter.
He can get hot.
He absolutely can get hot,
ball.
But he can, like you said, his drives are something special.
When he goes to the hoop,
it is ferocious.
I just think the Celtics need to maximize him a lot more with his skill traits.
It was him that dunked on Giannis twice, right?
There's not many guys that would want to get his way.
Bring back Al Horford, I think he's better than Draymond Green.
I think so.
Absolutely.
He does his job better than he's probably one of the best in the league at doing his job, and no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
The most underrated defenseman in the league.
I only compare him to Draymond because that's kind of what he is to the Celtics. He's big who can do a little bit of everything. He stretches the floor.
He's
passes,
a small,
rebounds.
big man who plays huge.
He's an older Draymond, but I still think he gives you a little bit more than what Draymond does.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like every time I see Al Horford shoot a 3 from the top of the key. I don't have to think twice. I know it's hitting nothing but the bottom of the net.
I love him. He'll take a couple threes a game, but you have the utmost confidence that they're just gonna go in. And there's a couple of games where he'll just brick them, but
yeah. But for the most part, man, he's lights out from 3, and he doesn't have bad shot selection. He knows when to shoot the ball, when to pass the ball. He's not gonna make stupid mistakes. I think that's what's so important about him.
I just think you roll out with fairly the same team minus Kyrie. I think you're a still top 3 team in the East.
Who do you think's our point guard?
I think Terry. I think we should re-sign Terry.
Pat Bev? Yeah, is he free agent?
Yeah, either him or Terry.
Is he going for a max?
We have 3. We keep in mind who Terry?
No, Pat Bev.
No.
He's old. He's older. He's what, 31, 32? He'll
Somewhere
probably
like
want like a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
I'm very okay with
that. That's all we would need.
Cheap.
Yeah.
But we have 3 first-round picks. We have a couple unprotected picks in a couple years via Memphis, stuff like that. But maybe you got to trade. You trade up into this draft. You draft the top 10 guy. You roll the dice with the 3 with Brown, Tatum, and whoever.
I think everything was going great. Like Kyrie and Gordon Hayward got injured, and I would never wish injury upon anybody, but you really saw what the Celtics were about. And then they come back into the system. We try to fit them into the system, and it went downhill.
Do you think that had anything to do with Kyrie when he saw that last year?
Absolutely.
Look at how selfish he is. You don't think that might have taken him?
Absolutely. I feel like that tore him apart inside, seeing what the team
that could have started it.
I mean, put yourself in his shoes. You're looked at as one of the.
But you're a professional athlete. I think there is a point where you need to grow up. At some point in your career, you need to grow up and you need to face the facts that your team's going to win without you sometimes. This is the way it rolls.
And when he went back and called LeBron and apologized and all that shit, that was bullshit. Even he arguably got more immature after that, but
he's
just very two-faced.
He is. He's like a
13-year-old
girl, man.
You see parts of him. You see parts of him. He's like, oh. I mean, if I ever thought about it, in an interview with whatever, he's saying, "Oh, if I ever thought about leaving the Celtics, I gotta realize, like, I'm with the Celtics, all that stuff, and like him."
If you guys would have me, I'd be happy.
The season ticket.
Just don't say that.
If you're gonna fall apart, if you're gonna have an emotional breakdown, whatever the hell he had, I mean, you just get your hopes up as a fan, and look at us now. I'd say over half the Celtics fan population wants him out the door.
Yeah. Well, that was a bit about NBA free agency as a whole. Kind of delved into Celtics free agency, what we should do for options there. But that's going to wrap up episode 2 of Inside the Locker Room. Thank you guys for coming out and watching. And,
That's all we got. Peace.
Peace.